You are watching WPTV, award-winning college television.
Welcome back to the desk. It has been a great week for Pioneer Baseball as they head down to Florida for their spring break. But before spring break, let's talk about what happened this week. Today we have Daniel Karp, Andrew Ballistreri, Andy Gavin, and Marc Brandt. Guys, the struggling Pioneers took a demanding lead over SUNY Cobleskill this past Monday. It's been an offensive performance they've been craving for the longest time. But I'll start with you, Andy. In this game, the Pioneers had a lot of impactful players. So who has been an impactful player in your eyes?
I'm going to go Noah Cabasa. He was 3 for 4, 2 runs, 1 RBI. He's been struggling at the plate this year, and we're going to take a look at his stats here. But you look at his stats, for this game, 4 at-bats, the hits we just talked about, the runs, RBIs. But he's a little under the Mendoza line right now. But this is the type of game that you got to get going. You have to start moving forward, and that's a good game for him to turn it all around. Yeah, absolutely. Noah Cabasa has been an impactful player in this game, and he's been doing great so far this season. But I'll swing things over to you, Bally. Who do you think had an impactful player in that game?
I got to go with Ty Kobalakowicz. I mean, he was phenomenal in this game. As we could take a look at his stats, he went 2 for 4 in this game, hit a homer in his 4 at-bats, 2 for 4, as I mentioned, 2 RBIs and that homer as well. He's been a beast overall to begin this season. He's been Willie P's best hitter overall. He's hitting over 400, over pretty much a 1,200 OPS. Already's got 2 homers, 11 ribbies. Hopefully he could just keep this hot streak going in Florida. Yeah, absolutely. He has been phenomenal all season long. I think he's great and he's making a huge impact. But Marc, who's your guy that you think made an impactful performance in this game?
Yeah, I'm going to take it from the plate to the mound. I'm going to go with Rob Nathan, the freshman starting pitcher. He's been on a tear this week, and if we take a look at his numbers, from that game alone, 6 innings pitched, 8 strikeouts, only 1 earned run, and only 2 walks. He's been dealing so far in the early going, and especially against Cobleskill, he had a phenomenal outing.
Absolutely, Marc. He was lights out in the performance against, this past Monday. So he was just command of all of his pitches. He just looked great. But Karp, who's your guy?
Make it quick. I'm going to go another freshman on the mound, Kevin Rayner. Came in relief for Rob Nathan. So we'll take a look at his stats. He had 2 innings pitched he had 3 strikeouts, 0 earned runs, and 2 walks. In that second inning of relief, he got into a little bit of trouble, but he got the base loaded 1 out and managed to get out of trouble and keep the game wide apart.
Yeah, absolutely. But from one dominant win to another dominant win, the Pioneers played on Wednesday and they went back and forth against Manhattanville in Purchase, New York on Wednesday, defeating them 11-10 in 8 innings. Marc, take us through this one.
Yeah, like you said, 11-10, ended up being called for darkness because, no lights on the field. But take a look at the stats, 40 at-bats for the Pioneers compared to 32 for the Valiants, 13 hits for the Pioneers compared to 10, then 9 strikeouts for the Pioneers, only 5 for the Valiants, and then left on base, the Pioneers, 13 compared to the Valiants, 7. So, William Patterson, like it says there, 13-3 against the Valiants all time. So a solid throw that got called for darkness. So, it was a good win for the Pioneers, back-to-back wins.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good that they got back-to-back wins, and that's what they need heading down to Florida. But, Karp, what did you see from this performance?
So besides from Ty Kobalakowicz staying home, I'm going to talk about Nick Diaz, who came in relief in the 3rd inning. He came in relief, 2 innings of work, and gave up no runs. And in a back-and-forth game, he kept the game where it was, which is very, very impactful for the Pioneers in a game that's going back and forth.
Andy, I'll swing things over to you. What did you see?
Everyone had a few hits here and there. Jake Lutz had a great game. Ty Kobe had a great game. They fought and clawed their way back. They were down early, and they came back, and they ended up winning that.
Yeah, absolutely. Bally.
Yeah, we saw really good pitching performances all throughout as well. Ian Metziger, Neil Teladavar had great performances down the stretch, give Pioneers, a nice cushion on their way to the victory. And, what I like on this team is the bats are starting to look hot, although one thing I need to see improved a little bit still is the errors. It seems like they're still having quite a lot of errors every game, even though it's early on in the season.
Yeah, like you said, pitching has been great so far in Metziger. He has been dominant. But, Marc, what did you see from this game?
Yeah, Bally mentioned the pitching a little bit, and I want to touch on that. 7 different pitchers were used in that game, so you kind of saw, you saw Coach Lauderhan going to his bullpen a lot, which was really impressive. I like seeing, the diversity of the pitchers used on the mound.
Yeah, absolutely. Bullpen management has been one of his keys this season. But guys, the Pioneers head down to Florida to play a couple games, and there was a lot of teams that they're unfamiliar with. But starting with you, Daniel, who are you most looking forward to seeing the Pioneers play?
I'm going to talk about Ohio Northern, a team. So don't be fooled by the record, a 4-5 record, but don't be fooled because they play a lot of competition. They're actually playing the number 14 ranked Rowan today in Florida. They have the number 3 Baldwin Wallace, which is actually in their conference. So this is a team that's very solid. They have above a 300 average, above 8.5 OPS as a team. So this is a good test for the Pioneers, a team that's not great but not bad. So this is a team that I want to see how the Pioneers play against this week.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that matchup. But Mark, who are you most excited to see?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the game against Middlebury College. It's actually their last one in the tournament, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. Right now Middlebury College 3-3, so not 500, not the most impressive record, but last season they were 27-13. So you know that they can be in that positive. They have the talent to win games. I'm looking forward to seeing how the Pioneers deal with that.
Yeah, Andy, I'll swing things over to you. Who are you looking forward to seeing?
I'm going to go Washington Jefferson College. The Presidents are 2-5 in the season. They're a 6 ERA on it as a team. So if the Pioneers can jump all over that and hit really well, they can really win this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Bally, I'll close things out with you for this question.
Mark talked about the last game of Florida. I'm going to talk about the first game. You got to get a good start, and that will come against UW Superior. It's the opening game of Florida, and we've played a lot of UW schools, Wisconsin schools. We've never played UW Superior, so this should be an interesting one. As I mentioned earlier, the bats have been hot recently. They're getting a lot of extra base hits, and I think a good start to this Florida trip with a big win against Wisconsin school could definitely help them play throughout the week.
Yeah, absolutely. But gents, the Pioneers have a lot of pitchers that are looking to take that next leap forward, and a great way to do that is down in Florida. Bally, I'll start things off with you. What pitcher are you looking forward to taking that next step forward?
I'm really looking forward to Kevin Reiner, the freshman. He's been off to a really solid start so far. In his 4 innings pitched, he's got a 4.5 ERA, a 1.25 WHIP, and he's got a couple of strikeouts as well. He had a really good game against SUNY Cobleskill the other day. He had 3 strikeouts in that one, and he's looking to become a huge piece in this bullpen. And as a freshman, he's going to get a lot more time than I think he was expecting to coming into this, and he's definitely making an effort, an impact so far.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see that freshman get some starts in there, and he's been dominant, like you've been saying. Mark, who do you got?
I got Neil Teledevara. He's really carved himself a home out of that bullpen role. That's really where he makes his best impact. A current ERA of 0, so that's pretty good. Yeah. Current WHIP of only 1.24, so that's also pretty good. And 6 strikeouts in 5 innings pitched so far. He's been impressive, and I think that as the season progresses, he's going to be one of the better relievers coming out of that bullpen.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. And he was one of the guys that made a huge impact last year for this Pioneers team. Karp, I'll swing things over to you. Who's your guy?
I'm going to talk about Dan Castaneda, the graduate student who has solidified a spot in the bullpen in the years past. Hasn't been great this season. We've seen flashes of him be good. He has a 4.67 average. The hitters are hitting 4.67 against him, which is not great, but only in 3 innings, so very, very small sample size. But, as a graduate student, this is your last year to prove something. So, Dan Castaneda really has to step it up, especially in that bullpen in those 7th or 8th innings to be a setup guy. So I'm looking forward to him step it up. It's your prove it year and your college baseball career on a good note.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to him stepping up. But Andy, I'll close things out with you for this question. Who's your guy?
I'm going to say Chase Giesler. He's pitched 14 innings. He's allowed 16 hits, 10 runs, 9 of them earned. And he had a really good outing at Manhattanville, only 2 innings pitched, 1 hit. I'm looking for him to build off that. And if he can do that in Florida, he's looking really good to be a good opener for the Pioneers.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's all for WP Baseball. Let's shift to the other diamond for the start of WP Softball with Mark Brandt and the guys next on Sports Desk.